What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today I've got some more NBA news to talk about with you guys. This time it is currently being reported that reporter Tim Reynolds, who covers the Miami Heat, reported on Saturday that DeMarcus Cousins is likely to have interest in joining the Miami Heat, and the Miami Heat are likely to have interest in potentially signing DeMarcus Cousins, following, of course, now the parting ways of DeMarcus Cousins and the Houston Rockets. Now, I absolutely love this move by the Miami Heat. I think it's fantastic because Miami sit in a situation right now that I have talked about it, for a little bit, where they are reportedly going to be trading a lot of players for, other assets here and there. For example, there's been reports they've been wanting Victor Oladipo for a while, which, again, I think they might try and trade for. If they were to trade for Victor Oladipo, they would most likely have to give up Kelly Olynyk, Kendrick Nunn, and Myers Leonard, and maybe a couple of second-round picks or something like that. I really don't think they'd have to give up a first anymore. Look, I know Victor Oladipo, you'd probably say, is worth a first, but he's barely even played for the Rockets at the time of making this video. He's had injury issues recently. He had injury issues, obviously, about a year ago, and he's wanting a ridiculous contract and doesn't look like he wants to re-sign with the Houston Rockets. So they're probably going to take whatever they can get back for him at this point, and a young player in Kendrick Nunn and a very nice role player in Kelly Olynyk and 2 second-round picks is pretty good for a player that's most likely going to leave in free agency. Look, you might be able to get a first-round pick out of another team, but it's looking very unlikely at this point. But again, as I just said, they lose 3 players and bring back 1, which means they'd have 2 open roster spots available. This is going to be the case for a lot of situations. There's probably going to be more players on the Miami Heat team that they look to trade, which means they could end up having, who knows, 2 to 4 roster spots available, which, again, they might bring in some players. They might trade a couple of picks to bring in some more players. They might, who knows what they're going to do. But I definitely feel like there are a lot of free agents right now that they could definitely look at potentially signing, and one of those players is, of course, DeMarcus Cousins. I think that DeMarcus Cousins would actually be really good for the Miami Heat because it gives Bam Adebayo that option to do what he did last season. For those of you who didn't know what he did last season, pretty much he guarded the power forward position throughout the whole entire season, and Myers Leonard guarded the center position. But on offense, Myers Leonard played power forward pretty much, and Bam played center. They could, considering Myers Leonard's injured this year, they've had to bring in Kelly Olynyk to the lineup, and it just really hasn't been the same. Again, it definitely has been a little bit different. We've seen that, of course, Bam Adebayo has had to, guard that center position a lot more because Kelly Olynyk can obviously not guard that center position. But, again, if we do bring in a player like DeMarcus Cousins, who I think they will definitely try to, whether it's DeMarcus Cousins or another player, you bring in a player who's improving every single match. He had a lot of injuries previously, but he is improving every single match. And who knows, by the end of the season, I think he might turn into like an 11 point per night type of scorer. And you bring in a guy who can guard that center position, so you can actually move a Bam Adebayo, of course, to guarding his more, natural power forward, which he's guarded in the previous season. The reason why Bam is so lethal guarding that power forward position is because, of course, he can guard, Giannis, Siakam, LeBron, really you name it, he can guard that power forward, or even some small forwards here and there. Like, if you're looking at a 6'9" type of guy like LeBron, or even Tobias Harris, Bam Adebayo can guard them. So, again, he's absolutely lethal when it comes to his versatility on and off, the floor. But, again, if they trade for, let's just say they bring in a bunch of, who knows, role players in free agency, I believe, look, they're obviously not going to bring in Dion Waiters, but I definitely feel like if they've got at least 3 roster spots available, a player like Dion Waiters could get added. A player like Iman Shumpert, who recently just signed with the Brooklyn Nets. Someone like that, like a free agent like that, maybe even a Kenneth Faried, who's been reported that he is really trying to make an NBA comeback and has actually been very close and is still doing really well. Maybe a player like him actually gets the job on a team. Again, it would be extremely interesting to see, but when we do look at it like this, they could be looking at a starting 5, which could look at, obviously, Goran Dragic at, it would actually be, Victor Oladipo at point guard, Tyler Hero at shooting guard, obviously Jimmy Butler at small forward, Bam Adebayo at power forward, and DeMarcus Cousins at center. And of course, Jimmy Butler would be the main ball handler like he's been for this season and the previous season. Then off the bench, they would still have a very, very good bench. Like, I mean, we could be seeing Duncan Robinson, Avery Bradley, Precious Achiuwa, Andre Iguodala, and whoever else they go and sign. You know, again, they could bring in a player like Kenneth Faried, who could still actually play some nice minutes for this team. And, you know, I'm not saying, you know, of course, Dion Waiters, but I'm talking about like a player like Dion Waiters, who probably should be in the league right now. They could, you know, try and potentially bring in. And considering they're losing, you know, Kendrick Nunn, I don't necessarily know if they'll really go out and sign a point guard. If they do, players like Jeremy Lin are still available and are looking for an NBA team right now. But again, you also look at, you know, Max Struss, who is not really a point guard, but considering you've got ball handlers like even Bam, really, Jimmy Butler, Goran Dragic, I'm not necessarily too sure if they'll add another point guard or ball handler to that rotation. But again, this would be absolutely perfect for DeMarcus Cousins. I don't know what team he's going to be really trying to sign with. I think there are a lot of options that he could potentially go with, and it's going to be very interesting to see what his next move is in the NBA. In my opinion, I think he actually might go and sign with the Lakers, but I would very much like to see him go ahead and sign with the Miami Heat. And again, a team like, you know, obviously Goran Dragic is injured right now. If they can get their team healthy for the playoffs, a starting five of Goran Dragic, well, actually no, Goran Dragic, yeah, I forgot to mention him earlier. He'll come off the bench as well. A starting five of Victor Oladipo, Tyler Hero, Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, and DeMarcus Cousins with Goran Dragic, Duncan Robinson, Andre Iguodala, and Precious Achiuwa coming off the bench. Mate, they're gonna contend to go to the finals again for another season. So again, it is going to be very interesting. They're slowly climbing up the standings right now. I think it's going to be really interesting to see how this is all going to go. Of course, I'd very much like to hear all of your thoughts and opinions on this down below. Do you guys think the Miami Heat should, of course, sign DeMarcus Cousins? Do you guys think DeMarcus Cousins is going to sign with the Miami Heat? Again, I'd definitely really like to know all of your thoughts and opinions on this down below. But of course, don't forget to subscribe to my gaming channel, MIRL/Long Challenge. And don't forget to check out my podcast as well if you haven't already. Links for them will all be in the description down below. But as I say, to thank you guys so much for watching this video. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and comment. And I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.